the best way to build muscle and the best way to build strength. What's up guys, it's Beachbody again with another video for you. Today's video comes right off the back of a couple of conversations I've been having in my workplace. A couple of people recently have been asking me the best ways to build muscle. Best way to build muscle and the best way to build strength. Interestingly enough, the conversations have been quite productive and quite short and sweet because in my opinion, the best way to build muscle ties straight directly into the best way to build strength. So you can kind of do them at the same time as each other. Now, if you've watched my training videos, you'll know the way I train. I do incorporate different techniques from time to time, and there are reasons for that. For example, if I've hit a plateau, or if I need to focus on mind to muscle connection and really building that connection and focus, just focusing on light loads and contraction. Bodybuilding, in powerlifting, there's so many ways to build muscle. There's so many ways to train. There's so many different people who tell you this is the right way to train, that's the right way to train, and you don't know who to listen to. So many people to watch on YouTube, so many people to watch on Instagram. There's reels, there's videos, there's TikToks, there's hints, there's tips, there's forums, there's everything from bodybuilding.com to T Nation. I'm here to give you the short and sweet answer and then dive into a little bit of detail as to why you should listen to it. So the best way to build muscle and the best way to build strength. The best way to build muscle and the best way to build strength. Progressive overload. Basically increasing the amount of load and pressure you put into your workout and basically the intensity. So it goes from the amount of reps you do, the amount of rest you have, the amount of weight you lift, the amount of sets you incorporate. You can progressive overload in all of those different ways. So tip number one, try adding a little bit more weight to your bar each week. Obviously you can't do this forever, otherwise we'd all be going around deadlifting 2,000 kilos, making Eddie Hall look like a 5-year-old kid. Obviously that isn't the case. Obviously I can't do that. There's no one that can do that. That's what I'm saying. You can only up the weight you're lifting to a certain degree, and you will eventually plateau. And that's when you can incorporate other techniques. But the bare bones of building muscle and strength comes down to progressive overload. Tip for progressive overload number two. Instead of increasing the amount of weight you lift, which you can do for a few weeks or every few weeks to make sure that you last longer before plateauing, you can incorporate more reps per set. What that means is, instead of going from 50 kg to 55 kg to 60 kg on a bench press for the same amount of reps, which is, like I've already mentioned, progressive overload from tip number one, you can instead lift the same amount of weight or go up in smaller weight increments and instead lift more reps per set. For example, if you're lifting the 50 kilo dumbbells, you can only do 5 reps. Focus on achieving 6 reps, then achieving 7, then 8, then 9, then 10. Then eventually, when you reach that comfortable 10 mark, you can then move up in weight to say 52.5 kilo dumbbells or 55 kilo dumbbells and start the process again. If you incorporate these two tips together, sometimes increasing the load and the weight on the bar or the dumbbell, and sometimes increasing the amount of reps per set, you'll have an effective long-term way to progressively overload your training and get better results in terms of your muscle building and your strength gains. If you don't want to listen to the other two tips, or you want to add something else into the mix to make your gains last longer over a longer period of time, you can actually decrease the rest periods between your set. This does indirectly increase the intensity in your workout. Let's stick with the example I've already used. If you've got 50 kilo dumbbells on a set of 10 reps for a bench press, if you're used to having a minute to a minute and a half rest between each set, try dropping that to 45 seconds to a minute per set. You are still going to have to make sure that you rest enough to be able to do your set correctly and efficiently the next time around. But if you're decreasing that rest time just slightly, you will increase the intensity. You're going to make that set feel so much harder than it was the first time around, or that it would be if you had that longer rest time like you usually do. Number 4, there was only 3 tips, but I'll give you a bonus one. This is what happens when you watch my videos, you get perks like this. It's not technically a tip for progressive overload, but it is a tip that I've used myself over the years I've been training, and I have also encouraged others to use around me. A lot of people tend to stick to the same exercises. It's because they like them. Why do they like them? Because they find them easy. This means that people are going to lag in certain areas, and they're always going to have areas that they need to improve in the physique or in the training. Whether you compete for powerlifting or you compete for bodybuilding or you compete for neither and you just like doing one or the other, you're always going to have weak spots if you always ignore the things you don't like to do because they're hard. So the tip number 4 that I would say to add into your workout to build more muscle and build more strength is to change your training style around. Maybe have a little bit of a mess around with your split. Incorporate some movements and some exercises that you don't typically like to do. Because the reason you don't like to do them is because they're difficult. And if they're difficult, it means they're going to work. It means they're going to improve the parts of you that are lagging behind. So if you just have a couple of weeks or a couple of months with a little bit of a different training split, and you add some different movements and exercises in there, you're really going to notice the difference after some time. Let me know what you think. Try these tips and comment down below in the video what you think, and if there's any other tips you think I can incorporate into my training to get some better progressive overload and to improve my gains. Like the video, subscribe, click the bell button for notifications for all my next videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video.